Okay, so I've been. I think what you're doing is very, very common. It's so common. I've never seen my way actually done. So we have to start over, like on what we think is happening. Okay. In Tenshin Nage, this is going to represent Uki's spine. Her head's at the top here. It comes forward, and usually what people think is that it's going to go like this in some way. So sometimes you have some ukes that will slide under, okay? And then sometimes you have ukes, like if this had a hinge here, and this top part goes like this, they bend backwards, okay, at the back, and then they go backwards into the back break fall. But either way, if we just look at the head area, it's going that way, which in our dojo is east, and then the head is brought west, okay, in either way. Whether the feet keep going, or whether it bends here, and then they do the step back break fall, or some do a rear somersault, or a rear forward roll, or rear roll, whatever. None of that stuff is what we want to do, because they're coming from west to east, and we're pushing that head back from east to west, so that's a yang clash, okay? We don't want to do that. So if this is where the heaven arm would be, what we want to do instead is, we know for the head to go from back to west, then it has to be brought on that circle, the Kotagaesh circle, so that its forward inertia is maintained. You have to do that in every technique. Any technique where there's a back break fall, there's this little yield here. I've come to, this is a yin yield, but I've come to actually sometimes refer to it as O Sensei's yin yield, because this is what he does all the time, okay? And none of the people do it that came after him, okay? But the head comes forward. It's gonna keep going with its forward inertia on this loop. Sometimes I refer to it as, it's like Kotagaeshi on the head. Like a lot of people will do it on Kotagaeshi, but they don't do it on any of the other throws, Tenshin Nage, Irimi Nage, Kokyo, but it's the same. You do it the same way. So think of it that way. The head is gonna go forward on this loop like this, okay? And then what happens is, now I'm not fighting it, because now its inertia is going west, even though the body's coming east, okay? And now what I have to do is help make the feet light, okay? And the way you do that is you now bring the head this way, okay? Your hip's gonna go in here. You're gonna go this way, you make that little loop, and now you come this way. Then your hip goes in here, and this part starts to now fulcrum around this way. And as the feet are lifting, the head is getting light. So the head, we know, is going down, but I'm not actually throwing it down. It's more I pick the feet up, and I help pick the feet up by moving the head this way. And then eventually that head falls over on this side, okay? So let's film it from over here, so you can see more of the angles. The head is going forward. It's gonna do that Kotagaeshi on the head. Now the forward inertia is going rearward, okay? Then I gotta get weight off the feet, and so I bring the head this way with my hip over here. The head goes this way, the feet go that way, and the feet start to lower the head, and the guy falls down, okay? One more time, this way, Kotagaeshi on the head, then back this way, hip is over here, It'll lighten the feet. The feet will come around as I keep guiding the head around my body, and the guy falls down. Okay? Not doing this, shoo, like that. Okay? So let's look at some of the more common ways that people mistakenly end up yang clashing. That means that they're coming this way and you just took energy in 180 degree opposition to them. Okay? So we'll do that now. Okay, let's go over here. So probably the most common way is we'll just look at the earth hand. Is the earth hand, the person's coming in, and then we pull it this way. Okay? So this hand looks like this. Okay? A lot of people are thinking that you're going to shove that down like that, and then you have now shikaku, and then you enter into it. But what happens is when you pull this thing around like that, you can see the pull I'm doing on his shoulder. So I'm just demonstrating it from this angle. Okay? Boom. Okay? And so now that shoulder is coming back, which means that other shoulder is coming forward. And you can see how it sets them up for that turn that you have that problem with. Okay? Which means if he wants to, he could take that turn. You see? And that's the problem. So I'm contesting on the grip, and now I made it possible for the uke who wants to turn. Okay? And it goes this way. And it doesn't matter if I enter. And do it every time. Okay? So what we want to do on this hand is not go this way. It's going to help with that pattern. So I showed the pattern on this side, so we'll do it on this side. Okay? He's going to go in and then around me this way. Okay? So if we look at certain things, one, when I do this hand and I go here like that, we want to look at where his foot is to my hip. It's way over there. And we want to bring him more in past my hip, and that's where that hand drops. I want him past my hip. And that's where this leg comes in now. This now brings his head this way. This way. Not this way. Let him pass you, and then you enter. When you cut this arm down, don't pull it. You're just guiding it. Sure, it's very light here. That's how you know when to drop it. When you don't feel his energy on it anymore. Boom, that's when it drops. And that's when your body comes in. This way, drops in. This foot is my foot, so you decide where it goes to allow all that to happen. You can go forward, but he has to pass you before the hand drops. You go back, he has to pass you before the hand drops. Okay, let's just work on the earth hand. Okay. Okay, so this is more of my intermediate student, and she has that 180-degree oppositional mindset. You can see where things are. Okay, it's very, very common. Try it again. She's just running at him, okay? So pay attention to the grid we have here. So north, south, camera, west, east, okay? And so as I'm doing this, I'm not gonna go here and west. You're already starting that circle. So he's not going east anymore, okay? And when I enter, I'm more entering north if you pay attention. So I'm not going here, here, do it again. This is oppositional. I'm going to change his direction right away. And now we're circle here. Oppositional. Everyone thinks that's going to work. Okay, instead circle, boom, this way. Circle, this way. Boom, this way. If you watch my feet, the deeper he gets, my Irimi foot probably moves away from the direction he came from. So right now it's on this line. He's going in. Yeah. I'm going that way. Okay, so one more time. We're here. And going this way. Circle. Circle. Line. Start this rotating. Okay, other thing that this does for you versus this is it allows his center to kind of stay there, and that's what allows him to turn on it. This is going to bring his center up, and this now has some resistance to the turn because his inertia is going this way. It's hard to turn there. He needs to keep his center over his foot. Now he can pirouette on that foot. It's hard to pirouette like this. It's a lot harder, okay? So combine those, get the center up. A lot of times your ukes have their butt back. You see, you're making their butt go back as you're doing this. They end up Groucho Marx walking around you. And when you take their weight off, that's when they can turn on you. So have that center up and circle. Okay, back on the circle, try it. Okay, and now we'll look at the heaven hand. Okay? So I'm not just getting out of the way again. I'm not doing this. So my hand, if you watch the heaven hand, a lot of people, the second mistake that people do is the heaven hand is going forward, because they're going to throw that. Anytime my hand is going forward, then I'm oppositional to him. Forward. I don't want that. Just like this hand is going this way, this hand is going this way too. It's coming back towards me. Back towards me. Okay? So a lot of times, just like on the earth hand, people bring it only a little bit where his foot's not over here, and then they start bringing it back here. The same thing. You get some opening, but now it's going that way. And it stops a person. Stops a person. And when it stops a person, it gives him a choice to turn on it. And he can do the forward roll. What we're trying to do is stop him from being able to turn by preoccupying his center with the forward inertia. It's hard to turn when your center is being pulled that way, okay? That's our counter to the turn. All right, so we work on this hand. And it's the inward spiral, yes, but it wants to control the elbow. And this becomes as if I'm holding here and I pull this forward. Here, and I'm pulling it forward so he keeps going forward. When you combine this elbow like that, and they're both pulling, it's not possible to turn because there's pulling here. Try to turn, it's pulling him that way. So we're going to just look at this hand, and this hand goes here, and it moves him back forward. And back this way. That's what I mean. It's making him go forward. And it brings him to here. I don't bring this to here. I bring his head to here, to me. Don't go to him, because then the hand has to go forward. So let's say you're here and you're like, I can't go anymore. It goes up, and that brings him in. I don't want you to do it with your turn. With your turn, I don't really change the relationship. We're just oriented differently. Let's say you're here, like, I can't get anymore. That's where you start going up. It brings him in. Okay, try that part of the heaven hand. Okay? All right, so I combine the two hands, I combine the footwork, and with those, that's my yin yield. Okay, so I'm going to show it. I'm going to bring him to the heaven hand here. Okay, once he's there, to go forward is now to contest him. And when you go forward, that's where he can turn. So what I'm going to do instead is move out this way. And that's the kotegaeshi on the head. So I was showing it on the sword on this side, so I'll show it here. I bring him into the hand. Once he's touching, this hand is going like this. That's what moves him this way. And that's what I'm calling O-sensei's yin yield. Whoa, boom, this way. So if you pay attention, if he was to pirouette on this foot, he has to leave it in place, you see? But when you do this yield, watch that foot. If he tries to turn on it, it's getting moved. The throw, I haven't thrown yet. But there's already enough reconciled west-east direction that he's already falling that way, okay? Without me moving my hands from where he came from. Okay, try that part. Okay, second detail on this, on the heaven hand, okay? For him to turn, he can't have his head going the other way. So here would be a linear energy against his chin, and he's gonna turn this way. The head's now acting against that, okay? So when he's in the heaven hand, and he's sheer like that, and you're throwing him basically into the hand, so he's pressing into the hand, okay? It's not easy to turn your head that way, because even though I'm bringing his head this way, if you don't mind, his linear inertia is pushing him into my hand, you see? And as I move this way, it's difficult for him to turn his chin in the direction. Do you understand that? Whereas, if I don't have him, because I'm pushing my head this way, his forward inertia, he's going to yield to it by turning, and he's in the pivot, okay? So I'm going to smash him into my arm, boom, and it makes it hard for him to turn the chin. And I don't need him to not turn the chin ever. I just need him not to turn the chin long enough for me to enter, okay? When I enter, and I have him here, I don't now try to throw his head, okay? I have him like this, so go back where I'll show you where I'm at. Everything, elbows bringing it in on the heaven hand, earth hands bringing his center forward. I make him make contact there. I yin yield here, okay? And now, to throw my arm is to still contest. What I'm going to do instead is, as the weight is not on his legs now, and the inertia was coming through on his center, imagine here's his head. I hold his head still. Camera over here. You're going to grab his center. This camera over here. This is what I'm working with. This makes his feet light, and I can now make his head light. Okay? So when he gets to where I want here, this is where I'm coming in and hitting this base. As the base gets displaced, his head gets lighter, and all I'm doing is guiding it around me. I'm not throwing him down, so I don't ever have to make my arm go against that energy coming west to east. Just around. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that body lock concept. We have a video on the body lock, maybe more than one. But it's the only way I throw. I only throw with the body lock, especially on the back break fall. As opposed to requiring a hinge in the middle of his body like the Bidankai does, or the Federation at large where they sit their butt down, you see. That it has that hinge in the body still. It's just going the other way than Bidankai. And none of that happens martially. People that are aggressing, they will lock their own body up, and then with inertia too, the inertia acting on him will lock the body up. So all I have here at this point, with all that stuff I've done with the Tesabaki, the Ashi Sabaki, the Yin Yield, the Aiki adhesion, etc., is to create a kind of rigidity on his body. That's what you want, okay? You don't want this, okay? And what I'm doing here is, and I'll just go see the video on the body lock, okay? But there is the Adimi angle where I can be on the front top part of it, like the bookend, and the bottom part back of it. And that's what you're throwing when you do these techniques. This is kind of, I'm gaming it here. But instead of bending them backwards and then he goes, you're kind of just hitting here. You want it to lock, but your body has to be in a certain place for that, okay? And that I found, even my guess, you don't quite get it as you go down in the rank. There's a place, what they usually miss is the coordination between the upper part and the bottom part. And then secondarily, where does this Idimi go? They miss that part. They're doing some other stuff over here, over this way, like a trip. Let me move your leg, please. Like this. And that's not it. You're coming in, one is here. This is exaggeration just so you can see the physics involved. Okay, because remember in the technique, we're going to figure 8 it on the vertical plane. Here I'm not doing that. This has to coordinate with this Idimi displacement so that his body can lock, okay? That's the body lock, and that's in the technique. That also makes it very, very difficult to turn, okay? Try it.